Hey, welcome to Physical Media Fridays, everybody. Where I'm going to show off a few things that I picked up recently. I've decided to confine this one to vampires and Frankenstein's monsters, and/or Frankenstein. And we have a couple different sort of extremes here. This was part of an eBay find. This was one of those buy two get one free deals. So this counted as one. You know, I gotta admit, the cover kind of grabbed me. The quality on these is not going to be great. Okay, so, and then you have. I've also been sort of leaning towards picking up some Scream Factories and so forth on the channel or for my collection lately. I have a number of these compilations, including this one. A number of people have this or variations of it. 50 horror movies. There's a lot of the same usual suspects on here. So I have a few films a couple times over, but this one is interesting because they're packaging it as just a whole vampire collection and a Frankenstein collection. So they have trailers and documentaries too, in addition to some of the usual suspects that you see in these compilations. By usual suspects, I mean public domain films. Kudos to the eBay seller for not breaking these open. It may have been easier for him to ship these if he had busted this open. But bear with me here. They're wrapped in plastic again. Okay, so there we are. After all that plastic, I love the bolts from Home Depot here in his neck. I mean, it's a generic picture, but it's pretty cool. And apparently, this has a vintage Frankenstein movies, trailers, and exclusive documentary. And there are some of the trailers. You've got a lot of Universal ones: Frankenstein, Bride of. Then you got I Was a Teenage Frankenstein, Frankenstein's Daughter. Then you have some Hammer ones, The Revenge of Frankenstein. And then you got Frankenstein Meets the Spaceman Monster, Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter, which is one of the movies. So apparently there are two films. There's a documentary, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Curious to see how long that is or what the quality of that is. And then you have Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter and Lady Frankenstein. I have seen Lady Frankenstein. It's okay. The monster's a little goofy. He's got this giant head. I think his one eyeball is like way out of alignment. The actor actually does a decent job as far as the physical acting goes. I don't think he does that stupid thing where he puts his arms in front of him and lumbers forward. That's a pet peeve of mine. Okay, so there you got one disc that has the movies. And then that's the documentary, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And I guess the trailers are on one of those too. So that could be fun. I mean, it's something to throw on. I like watching a lot of trailers in succession, And then same thing for the Dracula one. Vintage vampire movies, trailers, and exclusive documentary. So not as many trailers, but you got Dracula, Dracula's Daughter, Son of Dracula, Dr. Blood's Coffin, Brides of Dracula, so I guess that's Hammer. And then Kiss of the Vampire, I guess that's Hammer as well. And we got a lot more movies on this one. So first of all, we have Bram Stoker's Dracula documentary. And then 6 vintage vampire movies. We have Nosferatu. Okay. And then The Vampire Bat. Not sure if that's the Lugosi one. And then Messiah of Evil, which is on that other compilation. I have that at least twice over. That is one I would actually probably buy. I mean, you can get it. I mean, there's some pretty expensive editions of that out there. That deserves a proper transfer. The one on YouTube. There's some on YouTube that aren't too bad. Boy, that's a good movie. Then we have Satanic Rites of Dracula. Hold that thought. Okay, that is a Hammer film. Surprisingly, or perhaps unsurprisingly, if you know anything about it. Grave of the Vampire, I picked up on a compilation from Dollar Tree. I even made a video. I said, is this worth it? Because there's 5 vampire movies on one DVD, which was a quarter each, because, you know, $1.25 now. And I said the quality was so bad, but my conclusion was it was worth it, because I hadn't even heard of Grave of the Vampire. I was unaware of it. I started to watch it. The other disc that I have, it got so bad. It was okay, and then it got worse. So then I found it on YouTube, and I did enjoy it. It's a pretty good vampire film with William Smith, who I'm a fan of. And then you have The Thirsty Dead, Attractive Young Woman in Manila. Oh, Filipino one. So that should be interesting. Let's take a look at see what we got here. Just generic. Yeah, I like the Frankenstein one a lot better, of course. But yeah, Dracula. This one has the documentary and trailers. Oh, in some of the movies, it's got the Bat, the documentary, the trailers, and I guess this one will have the rest of the films. So those, you know, there's some enjoyment to be had on those. Those are kind of fun. Pretty cool covers. Again, they're not going to, quality-wise, they're going to be on par with the films you see in here. And here we have, let's see, Count Dracula and His Vampire Brides. Well, guess what that is? That's the same movie as Satanic Rites of Dracula. Okay, and guess what Mr. Dan just bought? Oh my goodness. Now this is a mistake. This was from eBay also. I kind of should have known better. Trying to round out my Hammer collection, I got the Satanic Rites of Dracula. So you're saying, well, what's wrong with that? Well, this is from DigiView. You know, these generic companies. I mean, so basically, this is not going to be any kind of remastered version at all. The one on here was real bad. So I have yet another version of the same movie that was watchable at least. But so who knows what the quality on this will be. So, you know, I've seen it. I have a few copies of it now, none of which are very good. I guess the point is you really got to be careful. You know, sometimes on eBay they may not really give you too much information, but you got to, you know, zoom in on the picture, try to figure out who it's from. It's from someone. If it's from DigiView, you're not getting it's not going to be of the quality of a you know, a boutique label or anything like that. So that was kind of a mistake. You know, that was, again, one of those buy two, get one free deals. So I kind of wasted one, I think. Pretty, you know, not a horrible cover, I guess. Whatever. But, yeah, so some repetition. But, again, didn't really spend anything on those. Or didn't spend much on those. And also, as long as I showed it, I might as well add this, since we're talking about Frankenstein and Dracula. I am doing the Hammer Frankenstein series for Franchise Frenzy. So, hey, I guess I got to put this one in there. This is one I've never seen this one. This does not star Peter Cushing. They changed it up, and they have Ralph Bates, who I believe was in Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. You've also got Kate O'Mara and Veronica Carlson in this. And this is supposed to be kind of a different take. It's got some comedic elements. I've heard people describe it many different ways. Someone says, AllMovie says it remains a solid, often surprising film that is perfect for horror films who can appreciate a few sly laughs being mixed in with the usual chills. And they have David Prowse in this one of two times he played Frankenstein's monster for Hammer, I believe. And this one was written and directed by Jimmy Sangster, which, you know, I think is a promising aspect. But, yeah, I'll give this one a watch. See what we got here. Pretty cool. And then there's some artwork of Dr. Frankenstein at work. But, so that was, you know, I figured I had to go ahead and pick it up. You know, for the Dracula series, you got the oddball would probably be Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. And for the Frankenstein series, the oddball film is probably this one. But, you know, you got to see them if you're really into those films. And I'm sure I'll enjoy it. It looks pretty good. And, you know, knowing that it might be a little bit more tongue-in-cheek going into it, you know, I don't think I'm going to be disappointed at all. So there you go, guys. Are you like me? Are you just about tapped out on these cheaper compilations? I think I'm ready to graduate from those. I have so many of the same movies many times over. So to summarize, I certainly don't regret getting either one of these, and I'm really looking forward to watching Horror of Frankenstein for sure. I did take a look at the documentary on the Frankenstein set, and it's pretty good. It's got like these 1995 era graphics, and it's the kind of thing like if your English teacher showed it to you, that would be a great English period. But if you got home from school, you probably wouldn't have gone out of your way to watch it. I don't know how else to describe it, but some pretty good insight into Mary Shelley. You know, like a standard documentary. And the trailers are just fun to watch, just schlocky. All right, guys, come back next Friday for some more physical media finds and discussion, and I'll see you then.